Hey folks, this is BestInSlot. Welcome back to our Mods of the Week spotlight for Jurassic World Evolution 2. And it is a very exciting week, as I'm sure you can tell from the title. But before we get to that mod, we'll cover that in a little bit. There are 3 dinosaur mods I want to cover first, and then a little cheeky something else along the way. So let's get started. Actually, before we get started, quick disclaimer as per usual, although I'm sure you've all summoned many demons by now. Mods can, and, you know, especially the bigger mods, will break your game when there's an update, so that's something to keep in mind. Your save files aren't necessarily safe, you know, we just kind of have to say this just in case. If the game does break, if you do something wrong, if a demon shows up and you're chilling, you're having a bit of cake, and the demon's like, I'd like some cake. I'm like, no, I don't want any cake, and then it eats you, and it eats the cake as well. That's a bad situation. That's your fault, okay? It's not the fault of the mod makers, it's definitely not Frontier's fault, and it's not my fault either. With that out of the way, let's check out our first mod for today with the Pacquiao Rhinosaurus. There we go. So this is a small little mod, but one that makes quite a substantial difference. This is the Pacquiao Rhinosaurus eye overhaul mod made by Mecha, because I mentioned this the other week and it has been fixed already. So Pacquiao Rhinosaurus is a beautiful, beautiful dinosaur. It really is, and that really shines, especially here with all these different colours and patterns and all this lovely variation that we've got. But it always had a problem, and if it was getting the bloody light, I could show you. But always had a problem in that there was these very weird human-esque eyes. It had this big, the white of the eye was always very visible here on the left-hand side, and it kind of gave it a human, almost bizarre-looking appearance, and it was actually a fairly big detriment against the dinosaur, I would say. Well, now with these darker eyes and the white's gone, it kind of helps a whole lot. Pacquiao Rhinosaurus looks a lot better than it did in the past. It's been normalised a little bit, looks less like a terrifying human dinosaur hybrid. But yeah, nice little change. Big shout out to Mecha for this one. Right, next one we're going to check out is the Edmontosaurus. Look at those trees go crazy. Ruddy dramatic. Oh, hello. So, this is the Cretaceous Wildebeest mod made by North Fire. Now, I've not actually really covered North Fire too much in the past, but they've been doing a lot of dinosaur overhauls and particularly really cool environmental mods in the past. And what they've basically done for the Edmontosaurus is kind of bring it into a much more toned down, gritty, it's kind of like the R-rated reboot of the Edmontosaurus. Now, regardless of what you think of the skins and stuff, which are a lot tamer, you know, if you want to roll in this kind of direction, they're really nicely well-made skins, but the actual model has obviously changed quite a bit. This is a thicker, chunkier, tougher Edmontosaurus, being thickened up all along the body. We've got this neck flap now extending down here. The crest is gone as well, and I think the spinal column's been raised up and thickened as well. It's just a big, chunky version of the Edmontosaurus, and it is a more paleo-accurate interpretation of said Edmontosaurus as well. It looks pretty great, I've got to say. I do kind of miss the original skins. These are a little bit too lacking in colour for my personal taste, but the model is absolutely fantastic. I'd love to see a version of this with the existing skins as well. But yeah, the model looks really cool. It's a whole new lease of life for the Edmontosaurus. Right, one more dinosaur to go. Pacquiao. Just going to jump to this one on the right because I prefer the skin. Here we go. So this is Jurassic Park style Pacquiao made by Funko Drunko, Dilophosaurus and Game Videos for Life. And basically does what it says on the tin. It takes the Pacquiao, but it makes it feel a little bit more appropriate for the general Jurassic Park aesthetic. It's been bulked up a little bit. It's got a whole new skin, which I think some people will lament the loss of the old skin. I've never been the biggest fan. I know it's this beautiful piece of paleo art and everything, but it was never my favourite skin going around, and I actually really like this one. This is actually a pretty fantastic looking Pacquiao. Can't wait until we get these as extra species in particular. So, oh, ah, That's what it is. It's an R and then an O. Yeah, it looks really good. Love the new boxier, slightly, boxy appearance. Basically, you can really notice it around the skull more than anything else. We've got those big Allosaurus-esque eyebrows. You can definitely see this fitting in more with the original Jurassic Park trilogy, whereas I think the Jurassic World Metriacanthosaurus, if you'd seen it in, say, Jurassic Park 1, would have stood out like a sore thumb, where I think you're just rubbing up on everyone, aren't you, buddy? It never works out well for you. But yeah, shout out to those three. Definitely go check this mod out if you want a new lease of life on your Metri. Really, quite a big fan of that one, except when they're inside each other, you silly goose. The next is an environment called Better Nature of Environment. It's a very interesting name, by Silvery Grey. It's actually a pretty cool little mod. So if we go into our environmental tool here, and you'll see here, if we look at forest, let's just knock all these down here. It provides forest, ground leaf, tall leaf, ground fibre, leafy climbers, loads of ground leaf, fibrous ground cover, loads of that. And all these ones here, though, all the forest items, all provide forest for one, but also lots of other things. And basically what they've done is added more stuff to the environmental tools. Now, not necessarily all. It's good. You know, the Ginkgos give you loads of forest and tall leaf, which makes sense, but they only give you a little bit of ground leaf and a little bit of ground fibre. Which they kind of should, though. When you click on them and put it in, you can kind of see there's lots of ground fibre in the area. And it can actually be quite annoying to build habitats at the moment, because one dinosaur wants one thing, one dinosaur wants another, and you may have an exhibit absolutely full of trees, but by default those trees won't actually give you forest rating in the first place. So this should make it a lot easier. You still have to think about it, you still have to pick the right things, especially if you've got a smaller habitat. Let's say you want tall fibre in particular, you're definitely still going to want to predominantly be using the calamites, for example. But is there any others? Yeah, but you could now use the cichlids if you wanted. You could also use well, that's about it. But you've got more options, is the point. They've added a lot more to what these environmental tools provide, and it will actually make it a lot easier if you do have these environmental requirements on. It should make it a lot easier to build nice habitats while still having to think about it and keeping your dinosaurs happy at the same time. So actually a really cool little mod, definitely recommended for those of you who want a little bit more flexibility while still having to make choices. This is a really cool mod to pick up, and I recommend it. Right, let's hop to the main menu and check out one more mod. So some of you will remember back in Jurassic World Evolution 1, we had a mod by Anaki that kind of expanded your maps out. It took you right to the very edge of the map, to the square border around the designated map size. And it was a fantastic mod, it was brilliant, everyone ended up using it for Sandbox by the end. Well, most of us did anyway. But there was always a bit of a problem in that it broke games relatively often just because it kind of messed around with existing save files and stuff like that. Well, no longer a problem. This is very cool. Although this is still quite a big mod, so I'm just going to posit some hesitation, especially I think if you're working with this mod and an update hits at that point, you may be in a bit of trouble, but I really couldn't tell you. But what it basically does is it's the return of expanded parks by ILOdev, i.e. Anaki, and I believe Kyodenic's been helping them out. A beautiful dream team there, and we're going to check out, let's just tell you what, let's check out Pennsylvania, because I'm curious about the airport, about the airstrip. But the really cool thing about this, so you've got creative, you've got standard, and when you go to custom, we also have this thing, well, as of the latest patch, we have this thing where you've got normal terrain, you've got flattened terrain, but they've actually added it as an extra option. So this doesn't just apply to all of your maps by default like it did in the past, and that's kind of where we had problems with it breaking games and stuff. This is now a new sandbox setting, so you make designated maps that are expanded, and as you just saw in my last park, that was just normal. I suppose I didn't show you that, but it was. Your existing parks should remain as they are, so it should help a lot with the whole save file breaking sort of issue. Let's hop into this and check out what expanded Pennsylvania looks like. Pretty excited about this. So the usual Pennsylvania map would be about there to about there, something like this. This sort of rough area here in the middle would be your buildable area in Pennsylvania, basically where these blank spots are, of lack of trees. But now, oh yeah, oh my god, actually it doesn't include all of it, which is a shame. But as you can see, oh, very cool. Yeah, so the edge of the map is now actually right here instead, and you can build on the actual airstrip. Very, very cool. Definitely gonna have to mess around with that a little bit. So if we zoom out, you see it goes all the way over here now. I mean, Pennsylvania is probably one of the worst maps for this in theory, but this whole area here, I believe, was inaccessible. This big mountain area here, obviously couldn't be played in. All this area down here is now accessible. Basically from here, tell you what, let's put a little building in so we can get a feel for just how large this is. Let's put an innovation center in there. And let's grab another one. I'm going to go as far as we can in this direction. I love these mobs. These mods. That was mops and mods together. I just said it again, didn't I? I love these mobs. Over to there. I think we can go a little further that way. Yeah, so that's the actual corner there. But that to... I can't see it, but it's over there somewhere. No one sees... Ah, there it is. Wow, okay. So that is the new map width. There to there. Massively expands Pennsylvania. Lets you build on the airstrip a little bit, which is really, really cool. Really curious to see how this maybe impacts other maps as well. Let's go check out one more. So here on Isla Sorna Site B, this is of course the Jurassic Park 3 map. And I was hoping for big things. So first of all, we've got access to the water itself. Very cool. And because, of course, we've also got the expanded terrain tools and everything like that from other mods. Yeah, there we go. We can once again build... Look at... Isn't that beautiful? We can once again build in the water. Very exciting. Oh my god, I can't believe I've started my sandbox already. I started too early. I can build on this little beach down here. What I wanted to see was whether we could build in the areas with the little additions. And annoyingly, I don't remember where any of them are. I've completely forgotten where the parachute is. Oh, there's the parachute. Yeah, so we can actually build. Okay, I'm very curious to see what happens here because we can now get rid of these trees, right? These are now part of the map. So... what's going to happen here? Oh, okay, it's an individual item in and of itself. Okay, but you can now integrate that into an aviary, for example. That would be really cool. You could integrate it into a Velociraptor habitat with Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptors. That would be really cool as well. Let's go check out over here. So, of course, we've got all this beach area here, got all this beach area here. Massive map, absolutely gigantic. Well, the question is, how far does it go this way? Yep. So you can even build in here in the little worker village kind of thing. In again, this would be really cool for a raptor habitat more than anything else. Build here, and that is the limit. So we can't quite get to the aviary, but we're a lot closer than we were. And of course you've got the airstrip as well, so there's your Spinosaurus habitat. Really awesome, opens up so many possibilities. Definitely recommend people download this, give it a go and see... you know, what crazy stuff we can get hold of. What else do we have access to? These are the main two as far as I can see. I had to come out and test San Diego, but unfortunately the city, the limits of the map are, I mean, it's still much, much, much bigger. It's from here. Oh my god, this is... you can actually build here in the mountains as well. That's going to be really cool. You just, yeah, awesome. Unfortunately, it doesn't go quite as far as the city or the docks or anything like that, but that's not wholly surprising. But yeah, definitely opens up more possibilities. Building the mountains, building this area over here. This is actually, oh, we only don't have all this, but you can build a bit here as well, like looking over San Diego. Just tons more options, really cool stuff, especially used in conjunction with some other mods. These are the kind of mods that I really enjoy. You know, these are the ones that I think just make the game better, really. They just kind of improve your experience. They give you more options, more creativity, and that's a really cool thing. I can absolutely see why this isn't in the game by default, don't get me wrong. But I'm glad that we have the option. So big shout out to Inaki, big shout out to Karadenic, big shout out to everyone who's been working on ACSE and on just progressing Evolution 2 modding. It's come a really long way in 6 weeks. It's really exciting to see what the future is going to be. So that is it from me. Let me know what you think about these mods in the comment section down below, and I'll see you lovely folks next time. If you enjoyed this video and this mod preview, throw me a like, and if you want to download any of these mods, there will be a link in the description down below as well to a Google Doc file. You do not need to request access, stop doing it. But if you have a look at the doc down below, you'll see all the mods of the week in chronological reverse order. Thank you for joining me. Cheers much love as always. Bye-bye. Reaching out.